to EmoTalk. I am Jah, and this is
Rah, baby, how y'all doing?
Welcome back, welcome back. As always, we are here to help you with all of your emotional conversations, all of your emotional thoughts, anything emotional, really. That's what. And so the theme of the show thus far, as we've started, has been just dating, relationships, the entry of it, the things you go through, the expectations in the beginning. Because at the end of the day, I've been in enough relationships where it gets to a point where people call it boring, but really you're just comfortable, you're settled, you're content. And so there comes a level of, and so we're going to go down the whole spectrum, but it comes to a level of, I've watched a lot of couples begin to gaslight each other, are picking on each other and saying things and cutting each other off because they had these expectations. Again, in the beginning, you hear all the movies, when we first started dating, you didn't treat me like this. And then it becomes this thing, this pattern. So Rah, please start us off on this topic. How do you feel about gaslighting and general, again, pertaining to, the dating world, how it starts with people's expectations?
Yeah, expectations. And I think that's the key about gaslighting is the expectation for it. But before we even go into the dating world, I want to show people that it actually starts very early on within us. Like our parents sort of kind of gaslight us as we were kids, you know? And so these are learned behaviors that we have so that it translates over into our adulthood. So again, very early on, your parents probably like, you're not hungry, telling you or saying to you, I'm beating you because I love you. Okay, you're beating me because I'm love you. What love got to do with this? These are things that are small steps of gaslighting that when we come into the dating world, we subconsciously bring it into the dating world. We're talking to our mate just to get them to see our points or try to get power over them to control the situation. Gaslighting is something that is very unhealthy, people. Like, we have to start having these conversations because it doesn't keep a relationship moving forward. Because at the end
of the day,
what's your
definition of it?
So to me, gaslighting is someone, or a narcissistic person. I put it like that. I'm gonna put a label on that person. Someone who is seeking to control the environment, the situation, or the outcome itself. That's what I would consider gaslighting. So if we're looking at dating apps, right? Let's talk about someone telling you, going back to season 2, episode 2. Sending you a
we will have season 2.
Season 2, it's coming. But sending pictures, right? So if I ask you to send me a picture and I refuse to send you a picture, and you respond back to me saying, "Oh, okay, I'm cool," that's not gaslighting, right? But if you're saying, "Oh, you this, or this insecure, this, and that," that is gaslighting because you're trying to control me so that I can send you something on your benefit. What do you consider gaslighting to you? Like that? Is that an example?
I mean, just tailgating off of that last one. I mean, just to give an example of, like, if you're on an app and we were talking about when someone wants you to send nude pics or something as the example, if you don't send it, at least in the gay world, the automatic thing people go to is the distorted masculine and saying, "Oh, you must be little." You know, that's the instant association. If I don't want to share a picture of myself, then now you demean my manhood and say that. And then if I am a distorted man, then I'm going to send it, like, I'll prove it, and then you get what you want. But now I'm just like a goofball who played into this level of manipulation. Because I mean, I can see where you're coming from, where yes, definitely narcissists gaslight completely 100%. But I do feel that there's like conditional gaslighting, like where your parents do something to you so much that you think it's normal to talk to people that way. See people, like you said, you'll be talking to someone and you're like, "Oh man, I think I'm hurt," or say, "Oh, you ain't hurt, get over it, man, you good. And it's like, first of all, you don't know my body.
Exactly.
This is my physical body, so you can't tell me that it doesn't hurt. Because, you know, again, for me myself, growing up in the suburbs as one of the few Black people, when I did interact with, you know, Black people, they were like, "Oh, you talk white," and I'm like,
see.
And so there were so many levels of gaslighting me in a way that I'm like, "You're not supposed to do this to me. I'm one of you." And it was always something weird where I'm not here to bash Black culture ever. No, I love my Blackness, but a lot of things that we don't talk about in our trauma growing up as kids, it was always compared to white culture, which never made sense. It's like, we're already oppressed, but now you're going to use oppression to oppress your children to say, can't feel this way because you're not white.
Right.
And it's like, what? And so that added on to, now you're a Black man, you can't cry. Yo, you don't cry, you tough, bro. You suck it up, say it with your chest. It's like, I can say it with my chest, but it still hurts. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And again, all of that translate over into the dating world itself. So these are subconscious things that in the back of your mind, you're not conscious about. It is a program. It is just how you interact. So when you're engaging in conversations, and if you feel that you don't get your way, or if you're trying to control the situation, that's a sense of gaslighting right there. And if you can recognize that as gaslighting, then you are able to, again, do something about it. But a lot of people, like I said, these are things that happen in childhood that have just manifested over into the dating world. And that's where, again, that energy has to be recognized.
Yeah. So then, because we kind of talked about it like an overview, but like you meet someone and you guys get along great, you're entertaining each other and having a good time. And then you start noticing traits of, like, again, that conditional gaslighting where, like, you're talking and you're explaining an idea, and then they might just be really excited, but they start over talking you. And then like, okay, but I'm not done with my thought. And to them, they're just excited. And I'm guilty of this. I people, like, I get excited about the topic, but I do have to stop to listen. But to someone else, it feels like I'm gaslighting them. Like, you're not letting me get my thought out. And I'm like, you paused. And they're like, that's how I process. I'm like, but a pause means your turn. So how would you deal with that with someone you just met in the dating world where, like you said, like, if they're not aware of it, and like, there's a lot of people who don't even know the term. I just learned the term, honestly, like last year.
Right. And to be honest with you, I think gaslighting term is really truly being brought to the forefront. And I think it is because of the area in which we're in now, where, everything is kind of being subject to mass communication. So I feel like there are 3 stages of gaslighting: disbelief, defending yourself, and depression. So when you're first getting to know someone, if they're coming off to you and they're, allowing you the opportunity to talk, but then you feel like they're continuously talking and you're not able to get your word in, they're trying to control the situation. And that should be a flag to you right then and there to actually ask some appropriate question at that point. Being able to figure out how that person's communication style is. Because just like you said, you could be just trying to complete a full sentence, giving a great understanding, where someone else probably sees that as, oh, this person's gaslight, they're not giving me the opportunity. But that's not the case. That's just your form of communication. So ask the appropriate question. How is your form of communication? If you recognize that as a flag, if not, that's where again it comes into that disbelief side of it, where you someone who's rushing in to kind of charm you, get you to fill them out, trying to get you everything that you need, so that again they can kind of shift your belief system a little bit, system, see how much they can get from you.
Now that's definitely the narcissism right there.
Right.
That's definitely a definition of that, because if you're explaining it that way, that means that person's going in with some type of intent to obviously try to manipulate and submit this person through gaslighting.
Right. And these are some of the things you have to recognize, again, when we're talking about sending pictures and how are you meeting people on the apps. These are the red flags in the beginning of it, because if they're coming into that trying to control the situation, that's a sense of gaslighting, that's a sense of narcissism. You have to ask yourself, is this something that I want to go into, right? These are something that it's going to take some a few conversations. It's not going to be something that is just hit you right in the front of your face. Usually people who know how to use gaslighting is so subtle. It makes you seem like because it's making you question yourself. So you won't necessarily see it coming off as gaslighting until after the fact. But if you do recognize that as a flag, that's one thing to do. That's one thing for you to do it. Second phase to this is the defensive side of it, right? Where you are then communicating with this person and then you feel like you have to defend yourself, or you feel like you have to defend a thought or action. That's a sense of gaslighting right there, because it's like you're making me question my own self. But healthy relationships should be like this. It should be someone saying it's a give and give situation. So where it's like I'm constantly learning from you and you're constantly learning from me. I don't know it all. I do know what I know, but you shouldn't make me question my own sanity or my own belief. That's again part of gaslighting, when you make someone question themselves and be like, and then I have to defend myself about why I do what I do. Like, that's defensive.
And that's all. And please, this is amazing information, because I know this is a lot of people get the negative aspects of someone trying to explain what gaslighting is and narcissists. Like, we're not here to attack narcissists. Enough people are doing that in the world. We all know what it is now. Same thing with gaslighting. For me, I want people to be able to walk away with some type of tools. And so what I have learned is what we're calling gaslighting is a pink flag. It's not a red flag.
I love that pink flag. Okay, I like
because
that.
A red flag is like, you're talking crazy to me and I literally just bypass it. Like, oh, maybe they're just having a bad day. No, he just talked crazy to you. That's a problem. That's a red flag. But a pink flag is like, again, where I say, my friend, I'm going to give an example. She was talking to this guy and he was supposed to fly out to see her. And it was like a big party or whatever before or whatever. He missed his flight. She was waiting for 2 weeks. Instead of being like, hey, I missed my flight, I tried to call the airport and all this stuff and just say, make sure she was okay, he gaslighted her by saying, oh my God, here's all this stuff. I missed my flight. Poor me. I did talk to the airport first, but she's like, but I didn't know that. Well, I did try. Why aren't you happy that I tried? And she's like, well, I didn't know, but you should have told me you were trying because I was expecting you.
Exactly.
And there was a level there where she was like, I get it. He's upset. He missed his flight. And she was trying to convince herself that he just missed his flight and he was upset and maybe she should just lay off. And I'm like, no, trip for 2 weeks, bro. Yeah. I care how much I've drank. I've got on flights drunk to get because I knew I had to be there. So trying to blame her, I was like, you don't see that he's a mature person. I was like, but for her, she's like, but he's a really great guy. I was like, yes, but here's what I've been trying to tell people. A lot of the stuff, as you said in the beginning, starts with childhood. You're conditioned to believe this type of talking and thinking is normal. And until someone breaks your habit and say, look, you might be special in your world, but you just a regular mother, and I'm gonna need you to carry on as you do when you're walking into an interview. You know how to change who you are for an interview? Do that with every new person. So I think a lot of times you do have connections to people and the signs really aren't as obvious. So for EmoTalk, a lot of times we feel like even the word emo, it represents an emotional person who just wants to get it all out, but everyone's always saying you're too emotional, so they're not listening. So these pink flags, I would love to talk more about if you have any that you notice as well. Because again, with the theme of gaslighting, but what's a pink flag where you see that the person's cool with you, but they're testing you because they know you're the only person that they can't test, so they try it?
Yeah. So I feel like the best way to give an example of this is if you have someone you're talking to, and I'm gonna utilize the analogy around money. If I know that I can give you $1 and you're being satisfied with that $1, cool, right? At some point, someone who gaslights, they're going to try to subtract from that $1 to see how much they can give you with you being satisfied with that denomination. So it starts off as $1, and then I just slowly drop you down to 75 cents. If you don't complain about it, I'm gonna continue to test to see how much I can deduct from you. That 75 cents now goes down to 50 cents. You start to, kind of say, wait a minute, hold up, player. You start to defend yourself at that point. You defend yourself, right? So the gaslighter is going to be like, okay, well, I know that if I go from 75 to 50 cents, I'm going to do so. Let me try to give them 65 cents, see what they do with that. Oh, okay, 65 cents. This person over here, we good. I don't have to defend myself. I caught you back in the cycle again. Gaslighting, right? Caught you back in the cycle. That 65 cent over time is going to go down to about 10 cents, right? Before even 10 cents, go to 25 cents. Because even as you're decreasing, the person on the receiving end is always going to respond back, because they're going to get defensive, because they're going to be like, wait a minute, something's not right here. They're going to start to see some of those pink flags that before they get over to the red flag section, because that's when they know they really need to go. But after it gets to a certain point and it gets down to 10 cents and that person is okay with everything, that's when, again, that gaslighter has pretty much controlled the situation. He has already, or he or she has already pretty much got into you so that you go into the third phase, which is the depression stage, where you're trying to figure out and you're questioning all your sanity, just trying to get and defend yourself, but also to keep this person who's now looped you into this cycle right here. So the best way, again, just to explain these little pink flags is, if they're going to be constantly trying to test how much they can give and take from you. And if you notice that you're constantly defending yourself, which is that trigger one, I think that's going to be the best way for someone emotionally to figure that something's going on, because you're going to feel like, you're going to feel like, okay, I'm depressed. I'm getting into the stage of anxiety or depression, or I'm feeling like I have to defend myself. That is a trigger for you to say, this is a pink flag that is coming up. This is a pink flag for you to come up, because this person is going to continue to deduct from you from that point on. And you just have to again ask yourself. Hopefully you will recognize it so that you pull yourself out the situation and be okay with pulling yourself out the situation. Be okay with
most people, let me give an example.
Yeah.
I heard everything Rah said. So I'm gonna paint you a visual now. Okay. All of those emotions, you're out with somebody, you're on a date. Let's say you're on a third date. At this point, you guys kind of know each other. You've had a good amount of dialogue between each other but this is your third physical time seeing each other. If someone just decides to order and then they just start ordering for you, again, this is a cool thing that some people like, but that ain't how it go now. And so again, I always tell people, watch the cultural shift, know the cultural trends, because if you just take that power away from someone, and then here's the key phrase, you can apply this to anything. You're fine with that, right?
There we go.
That's a pink flag question, okay?
Yeah.
Because you already assumed I was fine with it, and you took control of it, and you did something without my permission, and then you made a decision and thought I would be okay with it because I'm cool with you.
Right.
That's where people, again, the pink is the most confusing, because when it's in the red, you see it obviously.
See it.
White, and you don't see anything but blankness and confusion, and that's the depression. That's hard to come out of. And then again, once you go that deep, you go to your darkness. But of again recognizing little phrasings, because I always tell people, we said this since the beginning, consent.
Here we go.
It has to do with my physical body. I'm gonna need you to ask me, are you okay with this if we do it this way? Because I like it. That's a compromise, then I can walk into it. There's no gaslighting, that's not an issue. But if you just do stuff and say, you're okay with that, right? I see people go, yeah, I'm fine with that. And then I'm like, you don't even like that. I know.
You don't even like it.
They already made the decision. They did all that work. They did. And then the person, again, the victim, they start trying to justify, oh, they did work to make the plan. I don't want to, shift it and make it difficult.
They start to defend themselves at that point, because, and this is why, again, communication is key at the beginning of this, because you have to understand how other people communicate. And if you don't say something in that moment, that person then takes that ability, they've already deducted from your coin, so that they know that they can control the situation, or they know that any restaurant we go to at this point, they are okay with me ordering the food, because you didn't say that to them. Like, you need to say, no, that's not my choice.
We should give an example. Hold up. Okay. Which one you want to be?
Come on.
How should people respond? I really want people to know how to respond to somebody who's trying to...
Okay, you go ahead and order for me. Go ahead and order for me right quick. Go ahead.
Hi, sir. Yes, I'm going to have the salad. And for my date, they're going to have a salad too. You cool with that, right?
Actually, no, I would like to have some chicken wings, please, even though I'm a vegetarian. But I would rather have something different. Thank you for ordering from me, but you know, that's not on my plate for today. Again, it doesn't have to be, you can nicely check someone without having to be rude about it. I do want everyone to do this because this is something that you're trying to, at the end of the day, you're not trying to be malicious about, you know, responding to someone who's trying to control you. You still have to be assertive and say, no, that's not what I want, because at the end of the day, it is about you. And we're coming together, but you have to put yourself first, and that means you have to know what you want. So if you know you don't want no salad, then don't eat no salad. Don't be saying,
I told y'all before, Rah is the sun and the love and the light, and I am Jah. I am the darkness in the moon.
Let's respond. Let me rewind that. Let me actually let me order for you and see how this could work. So we give a little taste right quick. Okay. Excuse me, can I have a cup of water as well as some mozzarella sticks? And for my date, can I get a Coke and a Caesar salad?
You gonna ask me what I want? Or you what I want?
I'm telling you what you want.
Okay, so we gonna take that pop off, give me this, and I'm gonna put this salad and make it as pasta. But thank you. You have a nice day, sir. And then when the waiter walk away, I'm gonna talk to you and say, now that was cute, but don't try that in public no more. I can order for myself.
I love that. And
I'm not gonna embarrass you in front of the waiter.
Exactly. That's respectful.
But we like gonna have a moment.
A time and a place. You did it. You like, okay, I'm gonna pull you to the side and let you know. Don't do that no more. Don't do that no more. Don't do that no more.
See, I'm all about being kind, but giving you that check and read at the same time.
Okay. That's cute though. I like that. I mean, because at the end of the day, that is, everyone's listening. That is the most appropriate way to do that, especially if you're in an establishment. I'm always one of those people who say time and a place. You know, those is something that you do need to say. Granted, that is the place for you to say it, but you don't do it in front of the waiter, just like in this example. You don't do it in front of the waiter, and you don't want to make a big scene out of it. You literally just do what y'all did and said, listen, excuse me, that was cute or whatever, but don't do that again. You set your boundaries.
But here's something that I'm gonna do this is for all my femmes and all my females. I'm not speaking for everybody, but this is the moment when you recognize when you do have a gaslighter. Because the moment of checking, a real divine is gonna be like, okay, I see you. Right.
Okay, I see you. Yeah, I see you, baby. I see you.
And a distorted who's gonna gaslight you. Why you gonna do me like that? Didn't you see I was trying to be cute and be romantic? That's gaslighting.
Gaslighting.
I'm just saying, know the difference, because there are ways to receive it, because I can still be attracted to you and you can have old narcissistic tendencies, but I just might be the one that break that habit, because there's a lot of people who do know how to handle that energy. But what I won't do is pacify you through the process. Don't you do that with me, you put your own disciplinary action to yourself. I'm not gonna hold it over you. But if I feel that someone's gaslighting me, again, with holding over me how I check them for my boundaries, that's a problem.
That's a problem. Because it shows also that they don't have boundaries. Because if they can't respect your boundaries, that means they don't have boundaries for themselves, or their boundaries are not strong enough for themselves. That's a question that you have to ask yourself. You know, you have to have your own boundaries. You have to set them. And if someone can't respect that, it tells you a lot that they're not going to respect you somewhere else down the road. A red flag right there. Red flag. You know.
Look, I'm listening, y'all. I'm still a little vain. I'm sorry. Myself. I'm like, this hat looks sideways. But see, that was gaslighting. I'm sorry, Rah. I took away.
At the end of the, listen, I'm gonna say my favorites. At the end of the day, y'all, listen, these are things that you pick up on as you're communicating with this person. Identifying first, let's just go back to just kind of the wrapping up the kind of the seasons. Episode 1, understanding when you're putting yourself out to dating, what are you looking for? What kind of energy you're looking for? When you're on the dating apps, you're communicating with this person, you're sending them pictures. Again, sending pictures may be the first time that they introduce the gaslighting to you, because they may say, or they may question why you're not sending certain pictures or why you do this. That's a sense of gaslighting. That's a pink flag for you right there. The moment in which you transition from the dating apps to start talking on the phone, maybe establishing a date. If you're in, and then you actually get into each other's presence and you see that they're trying to either control the environment, your conversations, the energy, the feel of the room, all of those things, those are pink flags for you to recognize. When we're sitting at the dinner table, just in this example, those are pink flags. When I have my phone, whatever the case may be, if this person receives a phone call or receives something, a call or a text message, how they respond to you is another thing. When I'm on a date, my phone again, okay, is going to be on silent, or if I do take a call or whatever case may be, it's only going to be for business, because personally wise, you know, and then my response to my date should be like this: I apologize for this phone. This is a business call that I have to take. Cool, if it's business. If it's personal, okay, whatever case may be. But what you don't do is saying, oh, that's my sister, cousin, whatever. Lie about it. Don't try to lie about it to manipulate the situation so that you can make this person, because this person's over here like, what's up? Pink flag, baby, pink flag. Recognize that, pink flags.
Yeah. And the thing that I feel the most important to recognize is, like Rah was saying, I'm Ja, I was thinking in my head. I mix it up all the time, John Rah, it happens. What Rah was saying is, when you start feeling like you're negotiating your own serenity to, again, appease someone and you don't know why, to me is a pink flag for you to recognize for yourself. Because when it's in the pink flag, the reason I wanted to say pink flag is because that's when you both have ownership of the energy.
True.
There's no excuse at that point. Like when you walk into a situation, that's why I tell people, we talk a lot about narcissists, but then we have to question, what is it about narcissists that we're attracted to? And why are we attracted to these traits? And if we recognize that, wow, some people can manipulate me with these traits, and some people, these are genuine traits of who they are. It's, again, being in tune and aligned with your sense of, this is what makes me feel good, not this is what makes them feel good. In the beginning, when you start getting to know someone and it starts getting deeper, yes, it should be about what makes them feel good, because this is my baby, this is my partner, this is my person. But in the beginning of dating, it should be about, does this make me feel good?
Make me feel good, right?
Feel good. And you're doing it for somebody else's validation. You're giving them full permission to gaslight you throughout the entire relationship. And they will do so because they're going to see the type of authority you gave them without even trying. Remember, trust me, it's like a dog that's been abused. It's not a good thing, but like when you try to get close to the dog and it snips at you, okay, that's your warning, but it doesn't mean it's bad. You keep trying to get comfortable. That's the person that you really want to give the energy to, not the one that's going to yell at you for being afraid because they're a stranger.
There you go.
You're a stranger trying to touch me. I don't know you.
I don't know you.
Don't you want this? Don't you mad? Why you gonna tease me? Look, I'm doing the dude voice. Women do it too all the time. Trust me, this is a exchange energy of us abusing each other through our own hedonistic needs and wants. And people have to realize hedonism isn't bad. I don't care what any religion says. Hedonism is an innate feeling to want something and feel that we deserve it. And that's okay. But if it's taking away from others, as all of that beautiful math Rah was giving us, if it's taken away and you're constantly giving, and you're not really receiving, that's when you kind of know gaslighting. Again, it's more about trying to shut you down. Shut down. That's when you got to question yourself, like, am I doing this for them or for me? And if it says for them, walk away. Walk away or bring it up, because every situation, like we said, you don't have to just toss it to a side. I know there's a lot of people where you're like, they're a good person. They just need someone to just be there for them because they didn't have it. I get that. But if you don't have boundaries yourself and you don't know how to do them efficiently and effectively, and that still respects you afterwards, then yes, you need to walk away. Because if that person then sees you setting your boundary as a way to, again, fight, it's not for me. And so people who I meet, they respect me, but at the same time, it's like, I'm not trying to force you to respect me. But the way that I get my respect, it feels forced to others because I don't yield to anyone unless you're my people.
Right. That's because you have set your boundaries. You know where you stand, and those who don't, they will always question that. That's just the nature of it. They will always question. Someone who is strong in themselves and their boundaries, they know what it is. They know what they're willing to accept and what they're willing to not accept. So that's what I call confidence. That's what I call where everyone should strive to be. It's a process to get there, but everyone should strive to be there, because that is where you will feel comfortable in your own skin to be who you are. So that when someone approaches you, that's when you know, because everyone is not for everyone. And that's okay with people. You have to understand that. Just like you said, when it comes down to finding someone or seeing someone as a good person, but if you don't have a good set of boundaries, even if they have good intentions, but they're just not for you, if you have good boundaries, you can teach them or you can assist them. Again, you can be hands off, but you still can assist them. But if your boundaries not there, don't do that, because that person will gaslight you, baby.
Because you just added something, because we're getting closer to the end of our topic, but you added something that I want people to remember. You can gaslight with too much affection too.
Oh, yes.
Met that, and I've met that. I've told people, I was like, you can over-coddleize somebody, like over-coddle so much their entire lives that anytime something happened, someone fixed it. Like literally, they never fixed it. Then they grow up, and then every time you can love them, they can be an amazing person, but as soon, oh baby, would you mind? Could you do? That's what gaslighting looks like when you really do love somebody, but they abuse it. See, because people always think it's a negative look. It can be someone really loving, and that can be an adoring, and it is, but it's like a dog or a puppy. Licky is cute, and then after a while, it's like, stop licking me, go.
Right.
So that's the same difference, because it's no longer for your pleasure and their pleasure, it's their manipulation to get what they want from you. So I always tell people, like, it's not bad to understand that everyone gaslights at some point in their life.
Right, definitely, yeah.
The awareness is that we're talking about. The red flags, the pink flags, the in-between, before it gets there, check yourself. A lot of people, gaslighting happens when you check yourself. This might offend a lot of people, but it's not to offend. It's to say, if this person thinks that they can talk to me like this, then I need to check myself and say, where are my boundaries? What's my responsibility in this topic and conversation? Who do I represent on the outside world that people feel that they can just talk over me? That's a negative thing. That's where do I want to see myself now? Because forget, as we age, we get to reassert our authority, okay? A lot of distorted adults in our corporate worlds, in our relationship worlds, and our family worlds, where I'm older, so blah, blah, blah. Baby, I told when I was young, I said, being older doesn't make you right. And I'm like, and if this is what older looks like, I don't want to be it.
I don't want to be a part of it.
My parents did not like me growing up. They were a smart mouth. And I used to be like, well, go ahead and hit me. That's all you want to do. And they're like, we don't want to just hit you. But that's where I learned that manipulation that they were going through all their life. And it's like, I had to break it just by manipulating them back. That's why it becomes an unhealthy cycle of gaslighting. That's why I say some people don't recognize it. That it's vocabulary.
It is. It's like you said, it's just vocabulary, it's gestures. It starts very early on in childhood. It's something that is subconsciously, we're doing it all. We're sometimes there are people, again, good and bad of it. There's people who have mastered this technique and know how to masterly manipulate you or masterly gaslight you. And those are, like you said, there are people who do it so subconsciously, unconsciously, not knowing it. And so these are things that if you're in a current relationship, we talked about dating apps, but we also, people who are in current certain situations, again, pink flags for you if you're in those situations, but you need to recognize, is this person doing this out of true pure love for me and it's mutual, we have this feeling, or is this person doing this or trying to, again, be the dog who always wants just you to pet them all the time? Like, then it's like they're trying to control, well, not necessarily control you, but they kind of sucked you in to a certain degree. It has to be a healthy balance between the two. Like, it can't be too much over point. It has true healthy relationships really truly pour into each other's cup, and then they overflow with their love, their abundance. It's we're in this cycle now where a lot of people, one person is pouring into one cup, and then this cup is getting empty, this cup is getting full, and it's not pouring back into their partner. That's a sense of gaslighting too, because it's supposed to be an equal take of those. So if you're in a relationship and you see that you have to defend your actions, if they're defending some things, again, you have to be be sensible about it. But if you're pure good intention and you have to defend yourself to this person, knowing that you did this out of good intent, and they making you feel like to question yourself out of your own insanity. Prime example, I'm someone who's always bubbly, cheery, happy, who is optimistic on everything. Had a friend who would be like, why are you so happy all the time? Why are you so, like, that's who I am. They were gaslighting me to let me know, like, stop being so happy. It's
Right.
you're not
Happiness
supposed to be
makes
so
me
emotional.
uncomfortable.
Right, you're not supposed to be so emotional. You're not supposed to be this, and that. And I'm like, wait a minute, no, that's not what I was taught. Like, I like, that's not what I had to reteach myself, because that right there, childhood made me shut down, made me come an introvert, made me come to something. Now it's like, no, baby, speak up, do what you need to do. So these are simple gaslighting things that, again, happen in childhood, comes into our adulthood. Like you said, even as seasoned elderly people, they're still part of that culture too. So it goes through the whole entire line. So just
it does. And I love the perspective of both of these, because if people recognize, you'll start seeing the pattern of how both me and Rah talk, and he gives that perspective very well of how, again, someone who's experiencing it from the outside looking in, and then we see it from the inside looking in. And so what I wanted to say with closing out the cycle to what he was saying is, again, when you are single and you see those cups, they're distant. So you do a little more work to get stuff into those cups. When you're in a relationship, it is hard to see the difference, because if you're pouring, knowing eventually it's going to overflow back into you, because they have to love you. I want to be aware of that too, because this is where what we're talking about generational, that's where we're back to. Well, because I love you, I do want you, so you should love me the same way. That's an expectation, but it's a low-key level of gaslighting, because it's like, I might not know how to love you the same way, because I might not know the love that you've had completely, and I know what I know. So it's always, again, going back in to say, like you said, that person who made you say, oh, well, you're too happy. Instantly, while you're telling the story, I heard them say, and that's the alarm. Sorry about that. But I heard them say, like, I am not used to being this happy. I'm allowed to be this happy. I couldn't be this happy. And so you being this happy is offensive, because you like me, but you're not. And so I don't understand how you have this. So when people, we go into stuff understanding how we feel, but still walk away with a little bit of the psychology of it too. And I see a lot of people and I see a lot of shows, and I'm purposely trying to make our show stand out, because it's not about us just telling you stuff you already know. I want you to walk away feeling like, yeah, this happens to me, but what about if I'm in this really long relationship and this starts to happen out of nowhere? Yes, gaslighting can develop over time. Again, when you stop setting your boundaries, you start getting so comfortable living in what I call these Stepford wife, Stepford husband roles. This is my job, this is my role. No. Your job and role is to be a partner, and if your partner needs help, you help them, and if you need help, they help you. It's that simple. There is no, this is my role, this is your role. When it comes to sex, possibly, yes, there is roles there, but again, you can still be versatile. When it comes to parenting, it's versatile. So again, any stigma that's attached to dating and that's attached to family has all come from a sense of insecurity. And so what we're talking about today is, again, these are signs to look for, but also know what to feel.
Right, there you go.
He's saying, that's why Rob was saying, if you feel attacked, every time you feel attacked doesn't mean that you're being attacked. But when you feel it, ask yourself, am I being attacked? And if you can say, no, I feel offended, okay, well then you need to go back and question that history.
There you go.
Situation. But if I feel offended and you say, no, okay, well then this is not a big deal to either one of us. So this is the moment where I can either just teach them or walk away, because options only to me. Like, you can either get offended, because most of the time gaslighting is all about the reaction. The person who is doing it wants. And again, the person who's responding, that's how they know if they're getting hooked or not.
Exactly.
So that's what I was saying. There are negative sides, as Rah was pointing out, and there are positive sides, which I chose to point out because I do know there's people where, like with your kids can gaslight you. If they learn
Yep, they can.
behavior from you, then they will learn, oh, if I cry and do this, I'll get my way. And then you do it. So there's that's what we're saying. Gaslighting is not just over talking someone or not listening.
Right.
You know, it's an emotional abuse. So we want you to walk away knowing that you're not alone in feeling like you're not being heard, but this is an opportunity to start speaking up and asking, what is it that I'm not saying or doing to feel heard? Because I do think that it is our responsibility to speak up.
There you go. That's it. That's it right there. It is our responsibility. And once we take back that power, we can then set healthy boundaries. We can then operate in our true self. But we have to start asking ourselves these appropriate questions, recognizing what our emotions are and questioning that emotion. We've been taught for so long to not question our emotion. It's just an emotion. Don't do it. But what you call that's harboring what I call resentment, baby. You're holding
and real
on
quick,
to something.
Hold that thought. That's also how you start building a pattern of behavior.
Yes.
You agree to it and you accept it. Now that's the duality.
Yes.
You physically feel this way, but you also create a behavior for that person to continue treating you that way. Go ahead, sorry.
And no, but you said it because I pointed it out that way. Then you're setting yourself to sit in the middle now, to be subject to whatever this person is giving you, because you haven't allowed yourself to set the boundary enough to know this, to let this person know that this is not okay with you. But allowing them to think it's okay with you, you're in the middle to be subject to whatever they give to you at that point until you can set that boundary. That is something that, again, you have to recognize early on, guys. You have to recognize this early on.
Yeah. All right, well, I feel I exhausted this topic. I mean, of course, we're going to continue this conversation on EmoTalk After Dark on Spotify, where we're going to go a little deeper into more darker ways of manipulation, how people gaslight, because again, there's so many superficial ways, but we're going to go deeper into the emotional part of it. Again, we start to gaslight ourselves. So join us for that conversation later, guys. That will be posted again on Spotify. EmoTalk After Dark. So I don't have any closing statements. Do you have any closing statements?
All I will say is, again, you guys, remember the 3 warning signs when it comes down to gaslighting. You know, that disbelief, making you kind of ask yourself questions, the moment when you have to defend yourself, and then if you're getting yourself into this point where you defend yourself so much that you're getting depression, those are trigger signs for you to realize that this is an unhealthy relationship. Maybe I need to either seek some understanding or clarity between you and your partner. That could be you and your partner having a conversation, or you getting a third party professional getting you. But at some point, that is it's a flag for you to recognize. All I'm going to say at the end of the day, my word is recognize the flags, baby. And EmoTalk is here to give you tips to see what flags you need to be, categorizing. So we've already had red flags. We talk about pink flags. We got more flags to color coming. So just stay tuned, guys. We got some more stuff.
All right. So as always, you can check out. All of our information is below. I'm a life coach. Anything where it has to do, again, with life implied. And I'm a dork. And, you can check me out at epicity.org, as well as Blank Canvas Club and all my social media platforms. And
yes, guys, you can find me at Self-Love Healing Arts Institution. I am a doctor of natural medicine. We provide natural wellness plans, holistic health plans, nutrition, all of the whole 9 yards to get you back to where you need to be. Again, you can find us at selflovehealingarts.com. Check us out, my lovely, beautiful souls.
Yes, as always, besos.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.